Hello friends, in this video we are going to make this functional calculator with the help of HTML CSS and JavaScript. As you can see here, this calculator is totally functioning and we are going to make this responsive too. So if we open this inspect mode, we can see here it's fully responsive. And if we click here, all display should be cleared. So we are going to make this. So first of all, I want to say if you want to follow me on this project, you can grab the starter code from my GitHub repository, and the link will be in the description of this video. And now let's make this calculator. And before this, I have one more thing to tell you. This is going to be a beginner project, but you are going to learn some new tricks. And first of all, we are going to start with the index.html page. Now when you get the starter code from my GitHub repository, you will get this automatically. I have set some comments here, so we can build by following this steps, so it will be easy for us to build this. I have made comments in style and scripts file too. So let's make this. So first we are going to make our HTML structure, and we will do the styling of that structure along the way, and then we will put the logic in JavaScript, and that's how we will make this project. Okay, so first of all, let's build the structure. So I have divided these two into subcategories. For example, we will made here a div called calculator, and in this we are going to have our two parts, which are going to be calculator display and calculator keys. So for making calculator key display, I'm going to make another div called calculator display. Now for storing a value, I'm going to use a paragraph tag here, and I am setting this to 0 now, and I am going to give this a class 2 which is going to be calculator display and content, calculator display content. Okay, now that's it for the calculator display part. Now we are going to make the calculator keys part. So we are making the HTML side first, and then we will style this one by one as we go. So for keys, I'm going to make another div which is going to be called calculator keys. So in this we are going to make our necessary buttons, which are going to be, and I am going to give this a class name of buttons. So we will build our necessary first our numbers here. So it's 0 to 9. So we are going to make here 10 buttons. So what I'm doing here is I'm pressing Alt and Shift, and when I press the arrow down key, it will replicate the variable that I'm at right now. So it's going to replicate this attribute. So I need this 10 times, so I'm going to replicate this 10 times. And after this I will rename this according to what we need. So it's numbers. So 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 and 9. After this we need our operators. So the plus, minus and multiply and divide and decimal and equal to, so we are going to make those now. So for it's my keyboard. So for making those, we are going to give this a class of operator, and the operators are going to be r plus, minus, so we are making one more, and multiply and divide. So these are our common operators in mathematics. So the divide, multiply, minus and plus. So after these we will need the equals to, so we are going to make one more, and our equals to, and then we will make our percentage button. So our percentage button. So for now we will make those, and we will change as we need. Okay, so for to open this, you can use two options, any of the two options. Either you can use a extension called live server. So it's this, or you can install Node.js in your computer, and then you can open through terminal. So I'm going to open through my terminal, and by typing here live server, this is going to be opened. Now this is looking not very pretty, so now it's time to style our HTML page. So for styling, let's go to the style page. Now first of all, according to our comment, we need to reset our browser settings. So to reset the browser setting in CSS, we express my keyboard is doing some things. So we express multiply or star, and we create a block, and in this block we set our reset settings. So for margin, we are going to give this 0, and for padding we are going to give this a 0. So you can write these, or either you can normally type like this. And last property I'm going to give is our box sizing, which is going to be border box. This will make sure that not extra gapping puts in our HTML page. After this, I have some put root folder here. Now for beginner programmers, this can be a new thing, but what a root folder does is you can use case of this, you can store some colors here, and you can use these colors in your whole HTML page. And if you want to change one color, you can change from here, and the change will apply in the whole HTML page. So it's a very convenient thing, so you should use this root folder. So we create semicolon and we write root and we create a block, and we use two minus signs before writing our property name. For example, you can write this whatever you want. For example, it's can background color and whatever you want to write. Okay. After this, so these are the color we are going to use in our this project. So first of all, let's set the background. So for background, we are going to go into the body section, and we are going to set to the background color, and we are going to give this our background color property that we have set. So it's going to set this color. After that, we are going to make this display here. So before doing that, we need to do some things to make it center, and and give it a margin from top to make this design. So for that, I'm choosing the calculator our calculator class. So it's going to be this class in which our whole calculator is being made. So I'm selecting this. So for class, we select from by dot, and for IDs we use hash. It's a pretty common thing, but I'm sharing if you don't know. So we are going to in our calculator, what we need is, we need to first of all make this in center. So what we will do is we give this a max width of 1200 pixel. It's not specific, but you can play around this, and you can set however you want. So by setting this, we have created a block of 1200 pixel. Now currently it's on the right side, because left side, because we do not have given the margin or padding yet. So we are going to give it margin of 50 pixel from up and bottom, and from right to left we are going to leave at auto. So it will automatically creates margin from right to left according to the up and bottom margin. Alright, so now it creates invisible box of 1200 pixel, something like this. So currently we have this and these buttons here. So now our task is to make these display here. So to make this, we will go into our calculator display section and select our calculator display class, which is this class. We are going to copy this because we are programmers, you know. And after copying this, we need first of all height. So we are going to give this a height of 120 pixel, let's say. And for to see it the given height, we are going to give this background color too, which is going to be our display color or something, calculator display. Here we have set the calculator display color to this, so we can use this here now. Calculator display. Now this is a very small project, but the root folder technique will come very handy when you are working with a big project, and this will save you a lot of headache and time. So after setting this, we can see we have created a 120 centimeter 120 pixel block here. So after this, we also need a border radius, which are going to make its border a little round. So we are giving this 10 pixel, and it's pretty nice. It's looking now something like this. And now our 0 is here, if you can see. Its color is black, that's why we can't see it. So let's fix this. So now what we have set in our calculator display, in our paragraph section, we have given this a class which is calculator display content. So we are going to use this class. I forget the dot here, and code block, and in this we are going to make it white first of all. So we are not giving its color separately, but we will choose from here font colors. So font colors. So now you can see it clearly. After this, we need to make it on the right side here, right? So to do this, we have a property called float, and we are going to set this to in the right section. Alright, so this will make this here. Now its font is very small, so we are going to change its font by selecting font size property, and we are going to give this 80 pixel, and it's looking perfect. I think it's looking decent per se, let's say. And now we need to give it margin and margin. Now we need to give this a margin too, so it's not go there, you know, it keeps in center. So we are going to give this a margin of let's say from up to bottom we are going to give this a 10 pixel, and from right and left we are going to give this a 15 pixel. So it makes it in the center. Now we have make our display part. Now we are going to style these buttons here. All right, so for styling our buttons now, we will use our next comment, which is calculator keys pattern. Now for this I'm using a grid pattern, but you can make this using anything you like. but grid is the simplest way to make this kind of design. So I'm using grid property, and you can also use another like flexbox and other things. So let's make this. So now for selecting our buttons, we are going to use this class, which is calculator keys, which are containing our all buttons. So we are going to use this class. So we are going to use this class here, like this. You can use the normal, you can use the control and V for pasting and control V for cut. If you are new in computer, this should be very helpful to you. This will be very useful to you. So after selecting this, what we need is to make this such that it will display 4 blocks. Alright, 4 blocks in one row, and we are going to make 4 columns here. Alright, that's going to be our layout. So for making that layout, first of all, we are going to give this display grid. So that will make this something like this. Now what we want is that our blocks are shown something like 4 columns, 4 box in 4 columns. Alright, we want to achieve that design. So for doing that, we have a property called template grid template columns. For rows, you can use rows, but we need columns, so we are going to use the column property. And in this, we need to set this to, we want to achieve this design, that we want 4 column, 4 buttons in one 4 columns. So for doing that, we will do 1 fraction, 1 fraction, 1 fraction, and 1 fraction. What we are saying here, that we need 4 elements, and we want to give that 1 fraction of a space. So we want 4 blocks and we want to give them 1 fraction of a space. Alright, so our layout is looking now something like this. So this is not what we want. We want our buttons to have a larger size. So for that, we need to use our button. So for doing that, we can use our class property, or we can select the button property. And for now, we don't have any buttons besides these buttons, so I am using the button property here, button attribute. Alright, but if you have multiple elements, for example, you have 1 button here, 1 button here, that are doing something, that will this property will set, this property will affect on all the buttons you have in your HTML page. Alright, so keep that in mind too. So for our buttons, we need to have a bigger size, so we are going to give them a padding. Now one more distinction in padding and margin is we give padding from inside. So something like let me write this. Let's say we have given a padding of 25 pixel here, and this layout is looking something like this. If we inspect this page, and if we click on this tool, you can see the margin has been given from inside. And if we have given this a margin instead of padding, then it would have been from outside, you can see. So that's a very subtle distinction from between padding and margin. So you should keep that in mind. This will be very helpful if you are new to programming. So we are going to give this a padding. Now we want its font size to be bigger also. So we are going to set its font size to let's say for testing we have set it to 25 pixels right now. So 25 pixel is looking fine. Yes, it's looking fine. So according to our design, now we have to give this a dark gray a dark gray, I guess. So we are going to give this a gray color. So for doing that, we have already selected this color, button colors. We have created a property. Now we are going to set its background color to button colors, and you see it comes very handy. And we have changed all the buttons here, and now we have to change the color of our elements to means this buttons. Alright, so we are going to give this font colors, which is white. So we are going to give this white color. Alright, now what we are missing is the decimal button. So we need to add here a decimal button. So for that, we are going to again go in our HTML page, and in our buttons we are going to create one more button, which is going to be our decimal. Alright, so we have one more button here. Now to set the layout like this, we need to rearrange this according to this. So what we are going to do is we are going to rearrange the button here. So first of all, we need percentage, minus, plus, and AC. So we are going to give those in first. So multiply. So what you can do is you can select the attribute you want to move, and you can click on Alt, and when you press arrow up key or down key, you can move this around. Alright, so first is divide, second is minus, plus, AC. So minus plus AC. So minus, plus, and we have forget to make our AC button 2. So AC is operator 2, and I will explain in the in a bit why I have given them a different class, operator and button. So now it's time for our AC. AC means all calculator, if you are wondering, and our layout is looking like this. uh, like we wanted here. Okay, now we want 7, 8, 9 and multiply. So 7, 8, 9, you can select multiple here, and you can do the same thing using Alt and up arrow key, 7, 8, 9 and multiply. So we are going to set those. After this we have 4, 5, 6 and divide. Four, 5, 6 and the divide, and then our layout is looking something like this now. And now we have 1, 2, 3 and decimal. So 1, 2, 3 and decimal right here. So decimal right here. Now we have to make this equal to sign, something like that it spaces from second column to fourth column. To do that, what we need is a trick, and to do this, let me show you what we need to do. So first of all, in whichever element we want to change, we are going for example, we need to change it for our equal to button, so that it spaces from second column to fourth column. So for doing that, let's first give this another class. So in classes you can give them multiple classes. So by spacing you can give them a different class. For example, I am giving them item 1. Alright, and now we will select this here. Actually, in calculator keys pattern, we will for cementing, and that's a very good practice to do also if you are working with HTML in any programming language, and documenting your code. It's a very good practice to increase the readability of your code, and you should always use your variable names such that you can understand them. So you should not name them randomly, but something that you can understand and everybody can understand. And for setting those, we are going to select this property item 1, select this class actually. So after selecting, we are going to what we want to do is we want to space this from second column to fourth column. So what we want to do, we have a property called grid template. We have grid column. We have grid row also, but we need grid column. So after selecting grid column, what we want to say is that we need to start from second column, and we want to go until 2 columns, and we want to move 2 columns forward. So this what this span does. It spans what we describe here. So you can read the definition here also. So it's spacing 2 columns but now we want to make it one more column. So now we are going to give this 3 column ahead, and now our design is looking something like this. So what I am sensing here, that our padding is a little bigger in our project than this, so we are going to decrease the padding. So we are going to give this a padding of 20, let's say, and now it's looking perfect. You can see it's a it's looking a photocopy. After doing this, our structure is totally complete now, you can see. And to make this responsive, we are going to add a media query here. So for adding media query, we are going to select here @ and media screen, and we are going to give this max width property of 230 pixel. We want to add a media query at 300 pixel. So whenever this touches to, whenever our application size touches to 300 pixel, the media query should take action. Alright, so whenever we do this, the media query should take effect. So what we want to do is we want to change the property of calculator here. So at 300 pixel, our default property is not making sense here. It's disturbing the layout. So what we want is, we want to set the position to absolute. Alright, so it will the size of our calculator will remain whatever it is, and it will just decrease the whole HTML page size. So here in this line, I have forget to write the dash here after max width. So that should be max dash width. So after doing that, the program will run. So I was searching here on Google how the max width function works on media query. So sometimes there are situations when you have to search on internet what a certain property does. So it's a common thing. So now if we inspect here, and if we check here, it will decrease its size to safeguarding the layout. Alright, so it's a fully responsive design. You can open it in any device, it's responsive. Alright, so now after making our project responsive, now our goal is to make it functional. Alright, so it's time to move to our logical part, and not so logical part. We will use new methods, and you will see it's very easy now to make calculator than before. And if you prefer to use the different style, I would welcome you to do that. It's a very good practice to do that, by the way, to make your own style and do something different. So for scripts making it work, we are going to apply some JavaScript and then it will work like magic. It's not magic. So first of all, we need to use a strict mode. And why we should use a strict mode? Because by using strict mode, we prevent hard to catch bugs from our code. For example, in this keyword, for using strict mode gives undefined, and when we do not use strict mode, then this keyword will give a point to at window object. And if this concept seems new to you, so don't worry, you can research about this keyword and search about that. But that can make a very that can introduce very hard to catch bugs in your code. So it's pretty useful to use always this line of code before anything. All right, so comment is fine, but before any code you should use strict here, so that will be very helpful for you to find bugs and not make mistakes and catch hard to find bugs. All right, now we will move to our next section, which is to create variables for easy use. Now for selecting JavaScript elements, for selecting HTML class through JavaScript, it's a tedious process. Let me see. If you want to select the button class, we use document dot query selector, and let's say we want to select all buttons, so we are going to use query selector all. And after this we want to specify the class, so it's button right here. So after this, now you have to write this much code to select a button for one time. All right, so we don't want to do this again and again, so we store this in a variable. For let's say it's button, so we select store it in variable called buttons, and this will make our work very handy. All right, so for now we skip the event listener for operators, because we will make first for our numbers, then we will make for our operators. All right, so first we will make for our numbers. So we are going to add an event listener, so we can actually register a key whenever a user clicks on it. So for doing that we need an event listener. All right, and we need a for each loop for registering each button. All right, so one problem here you can face, that I have faced also, is that if you try to add directly event listener on directly this button elements, for example, let me see you, let me the VS Code will deny you even before you try to do like this. It's not giving me any hints, code snippets. So you see, and if we actually managed to do, let's say we have so you see the VS Code is not giving us any suggestion. Means it's wrong to do something like this. And so if we cut this and paste it here, and if we look at our console, we can see here it's giving undefined. So if you may ask why it's giving undefined, because if you see the type of buttons, it's a node list of elements and not a particular button you clicked, right? So that's why the problem is happening, and you can't put like add event listener on these. So the another option is using a for each loop. So and before even that, we need to actually convert these buttons into arrays, because for each loop is a method and it's a array method. So we are going to first convert this to array. So we are going to give this array dot from. So we are going to give this array dot from method and to our buttons, and now we are going to apply a for each loop for every button. So we are saying for every button we are going to give here an argument. So for each button we are going to have a function, an arrow function, that will apply an event listener on all of these argument, which is button. So add event listener, and the type of event listener is going to be click. Now the click, and what happens when we click on this? So a function should run. And we are going to give this a function argument a e, and if we log this, let's say if someone clicks on this, then we logs the argument. So if now we click on something, we get a pointer object, but that's not we wanted, right? We wanted that if we click on any button, we should give it a real number, right? So if when we click 8, we should the 8 should appear here. All right. So for doing that, we want to use a target method. So we want to use this. So for, let's say let's log this in console first. So we are going to use the target method, and now if we click on something, we got a button class. But even now we don't need a button class. All we want is the number, so we can manipulate it, right? So what we want is text content. So doing that, so for doing that so for doing that, we want to store this in a variable called, we can say, let's say target, and specify this e dot target. Now let me clarify that this target and this target, it's not related to each other. Some people confuse when they see this type of thing. So this is just a variable and this is just a method which is applied on e, and this is a variable that we have created with const. Alright, so e dot target. So we want to target the text content of this, and what text content does is it gives us the inner content of this. So inner content of a button. So what is inner content of a button? It's this. Alright, so we will get what we want. So if we clear, alright, so we want to log it to the console. It's a very dumb mistake, but let's not address that. So when we now click on something, the variable is now are appearing here. So that's exactly what we wanted. Alright, and now let me tell you why did I create different classes for buttons and operators. So let's imagine a situation where we click on 9 here, and when we click on plus, and then we click on 9, and when we click equal, the equal should not appear here, right? And same goes for all clear button. The all clear button should not appear here. Alright, so that's why I have created a different class for these buttons, these operators, on all operators. Alright, so now our goal is to, now that we have addresses or add an event listener or every click, that goal is complete. Our next goal is to whenever we click on any button, this should appear here, right? So we can calculate it, right? So for doing that, we are going to give this. Now to do that, let me comment this if function, otherwise it will give us an error every time we open. So first of all, to change this, we are going to select this. So to select this, again we are going to create a variable for this. So it's going to be display. So it's going to be a we can use query selector now because it's one element only. And now we want to select the class. Alright, so we want to select this class so we can access its inner element. Alright, so by selecting this, we have selected this button, and now we can manipulate it. So now this is here, this 0 here is stored in our display, so we can manipulate it through this variable. Alright, So what we say here, if in if block that if display dot text content means if displays text content means its inner value is strictly equals to 0, then we want to change it to whatever. Now then we want to change the text content to whatever the target is. And target, what is target? Target is as we have seen whichever key we press here. So as you can see, the appeared key, the pressed key is appeared here, but now the problem here is when we press second key, the second key is not appearing here. And first of all, we have solved a big problem here, so let's address this too. What we have done here is we want to only change the number if here if the display is 0, right? If the display is something, we don't want to change it to 0, right? So that's why we have used an if statement. We have said that if display is 0, then you should change the value to whatever the key is pressed. All right. Now we have to cover for our else statement, or else we should else the display should actually calculate, evaluate and append the value to the target after target. So we want to append the value after whatever the digit is here. So let's say we pressed 9, and when we pressed, let's say 9, so the 9 should appear after 8, right? So it's appearing here. So what we have done here is we have calculated, evaluated means plus, and then we have returned the here. One common mistake you can do is that you return the value and then calculate. Then that will be that will not work, right? Let me show you here. See, it's not working. So you should evaluate first and then returns it. Then it will work. And this is same as writing this. Display.text content plus this. So it is same as writing this. So you can write this however you want. All right. So I'm going to comment this, and now our this problem is also solved. Now what we want to do is we want to add an event listener for our operators too now, because we want to address the our operators too now. All right. So for doing that, now let me tell you here that I have written same function as you will see for operators and buttons for 2 times. You can make this work if you can make this as a function, and you can use this 2 times here, but that would be pretty difficult. Not pretty very difficult, but for beginners it would be very difficult. So I'm not including this here, but if you want to do this, you can do. Alright, so we are applying same to same code here. We are going to convert our operators to first, but before doing that, let me first select the operators, right? So select the operators. So for selecting the operator once, what we are doing here is we are going to select, we are going to create a operators variable here, and we are going to select our calculator operator class. So we are going to use for all our operators. So we are going to use the calculator this class operator. So after this class, this operator is selected too. So now we can use this here. So we can my computer so for each operator we want to apply a for each to dot for, then dot to for each. It's now you can use the same arguments. It doesn't matter, because this argument and the argument you will put here will be totally different. Alright, so you can use the same argument here, but for simplicity I am using another argument here. So let's say we select here operand, and we are creating an arrow function. And what this arrow function does, it applies an event listener or on every operand that the array has, that we have created from operators. Alright, so operate dot add event listener, the type of event listener is going to be click, and when we click on function, and the word I have stated for this operand argument, the same goes for this argument too. What we write here and here is totally different. Alright, so what we write here, we can use the same operator argument, but we are not using, because for the simplicity, yes, let's do use a different operator. And let's say now we target now create a variable named target operators. For simplicity, of course, you can use same variable here and here, and that would totally mean different things, because they are scope based. Alright, if you have learned some JavaScript, so you would know that the const the variable declared by const takes scope block is takes a block scoped. Alright, so we are going to give this a different name just for sake of simplicity. So target operator, and this same goes for this I dot target dot its inner content, means text content. So after applying an event listener for every operator, it's time to state for our condition. So let's see, let's imagine if we uh, uh, click plus, this plus should appear on here, right? So for doing that, we select. Now I'm using an if else ladder here. You can use other methods too, but for the sake of simplicity I'm using an if else ladder here. So we say if target if target operator actually we say if display dot text content is triple is equals to plus, let's say, let's state for plus first, then we want to change the display content and we want to append, not change actually, so we want to append. So we will use the previous technique here. We will evaluate first and then we will return the value. So we are going to set this to display our target operator. So this. So now if we click on plus, sorry, actually I have done a very bad mistake. For say we need to select our target operator actually. So if we select our target operator and if it's plus, then the display content should be plus, right? So if we click here and if we click on plus, now it's appearing here. I've done a dumb mistake there, but it's fine. It happens sometimes. And now first we need to state for equals to condition, so we can calculate this result. So for doing that, let's state for our equal to now. So we are going to use else if here. So if our argument is if the target operator is strictly equal to, now I want to share this. I want to share this, that if you are using equality operator, you should always use triple is equals to, means strictly equals to, and you should not use the double equals to. This should create a can create very hard to catch problems. For example, when we use the double equals to, this do type coercion, and what type coercion is, it's for example, in type coercion, the JavaScript engine automatically converts when a certain condition of variables meet. When, for example, for let's say we have two variables separated by a two string, for say, or a number, let's say, and it's separated by a plus operator, then the variables, instead of calculating, they will be concatenated. All right. So for example, if we use this for 1 plus 1, the result will not be 2 but 11. So That's why we should always use strictly equals to. This prevents us from type coercion. So for example, if we specify here string, then it will be string, and for any operation it will not convert in any of the data types, for example in numbers or string. All right, so that's a very theory part, but it's a very important and subtle thing to know. So what we have to do, if our target is equals to, we are stating for equals to, remember? So what we have to do, if our user clicked equal to, we want to set the text content of our display. So we don't want to change the we want to actually do not change the display, because we don't want to appear equal to over here, right? We don't want this equals to appear here. We just want that when we click on equals to, this calculates the result here, and that's exactly what we are going to say here. So for doing that, let's first store our result in a string. So we are using let here because we want to change this value here whenever the user click. So whenever the operator is equals to, what we want is that whenever we user clicks on a equals to button, what we want is we want to store whatever is on display that time. So whatever here is, and store it to our string variable here. All right, so we can manipulate it here in one place. So for doing that, we set our display dot text content at that time to our str. So if we log str, let's say whenever user clicks on equals to, we calculate we set the content, whatever on that time content is on display, we store it on str and we log it to the console. So let's see if we click on equals to button, it logs to whatever is here on the console. So actually we have done opposite of that. We should do str is equals to our display.text content, something like this. So now when we click on equals to, whatever is on the display that time is appearing on here. So let's say this, and when we click on here, whatever we click on, whatever we have on our display is appearing here. So that's exactly what we wanted. Now we don't want to log it to the console, right? We want to evaluate it. So what we want is, we will create a calcu calculate function variable, actually, sorry, calculate variable, and then we then we say that you have to evaluate whatever is on str. All right, whatever is on str, you have to evaluate that. Now if we have if we have not this method, that this eval method have done almost the calculation part for us. We don't have to make logic for calculation here. So before this method, we have to manually write the logic for every calculation. So it's a very plus, but again, if you want to create the logic separately, you can do that also, but I am using the eval function here, eval method here. All right, so after this we want to now whatever here should be gone, right? And whatever the calculated result is, it should appear here. So for doing that, so we want to set the display dot text content to our calculate variable. So after evaluating the value, it will store in this calculate variable, and then we set the display text content to calculate. Now if we click on plus, and when I click on let's say 9 again, and when I click on equals to, it's calculating, right? So now we want to apply the all clear property, that if whenever we click on this AC button, whatever is here should be gone, and it should returns to the value 0. So doing this it's very simple. We are going to again using an else if, and when we specify the condition here first, that if the target operator is strictly equals to AC, not AV, it's AC, then the our display.text content, it's very easy. We just want to set the text content to 0 again, right? So we want to set the text content to 0 again whenever user clicks on this. Let's say I have click on this, and when I click on this, it's written to 0. It's very simple logic, right? Yes. After this, we just want to do the same thing for our minus, our multiply, divide, and our percentage. So let's do these. And now one more thing, you can use an extension called prettier here. What it will do, it will do some things on your code for in gapping perspective, like making writing if else like this, adding a gap here after an code block, and stuff like this. All right, so next we want to create a else statement, if else statement, else if statement in precise for let's say this time we are creating for percentage. So whenever the target operator, means whenever the user clicks on percentage operator, we want to now we are copying this code here from here. Actually it's from here we will copy, so something like this, and now we will paste on here. So whenever user clicks on so now we have to state condition for our percentage now, right? So what we will do is we set our display content, display dot text content, we will evaluate. Actually what we will set is from here, this is a mistake. So why this is a mistake, if you ask? So if you use another operator here, let's say we are using only plus, minus, multiply and divide, that will be okay. But if you are using different operators, that will be not good for using this technique. All right, so we are going to use a little another technique. So first of all we are going to create a variable here which is going to be, let's say, plus operator, and you should always use camel case if you are writing something. So plus operator should be pointing at and I will explain why I am doing this. If you will this should point at plus whenever we click on user plus, and the display.text content should point at plus operator. All right, and yeah, this percentage function should appear here too. Something like this. So whenever we click on plus, we store this on plus operator variable, and then we set the text content of display to plus operator, and that's we are going to do the same for this. Just going to change the names of the variable, create a new variable here called percentage operator. So percentage percentage operator, and we are going to give this a value of yes, percentage, and we are going to set this to percentage operator, right? So you see here we are missing one curly bracket, so it's giving us a red line, and when we fix this it's all fine. But here we have one extra, so we have to get rid of these, not this one, but let's say which one is missing. So this one is extra. All right, so these are common mistakes a programmer does. So for percentage we are actually doing the same thing, and let's create one more if else, this time for our minus operator. So for minus operator we want to set it to minus, and then this should be minus operator, right? Its name should be minus operator, and we will change here to minus operator. And it's giving us a little headache. And after this we have stated for plus, minus. Now we have to state for our multiply and divide. So for multiply we set here multiply, and we set this to a multiply operator. Change this variable name to multiply operator, something like this, multiply. And there's a mistake in one of the spelling, I assume. This here so this should be capital, not small, right? And this should be multi I forget L. So this mistakes can be happen, and sometimes it's very hard to catch, and you can't figure out for days. So this should be multiply operator, right? And the same goes for divide. Whenever user clicks on divide, the variable points at divide operator. So this is going to be divi operator, and this should also point at divide operator. And this extra line here, cut that. And now we have pretty much stated for every situation. So if we calculate here, so look what's happening here. What's happening here, whenever we click on operator, the previous digit is disappearing, so we don't want that, right? So to solve this, I can already guess what's the problem here. So we are not evaluating, means appending to the back of the display, but we are changing altogether display here. Alright, so we want to change all of those. So it's a, so you can use the Alt key and then you can use the right mouse click key by selecting. You can select all of these and add a plus here, plus here. Alright, so this should be evaluated. Actually, not here, but in. So what you can do is you can select all the text content whatever we have set here by clicking Alt key and right mouse click key. So you can select all of the display.text content that we have set for our operators for plus, percentage, minus, multiply and divide. So we are going to select those. And adding a plus here. So actually we have done here and here a mistake. We have added on here, but we have to add on the text content. Alright, so you should aware of these mistakes and correct it. So now when we click on operator, it is appending after the whatever the digits on display. So whenever we now click on here, equals to, it's calculating, and whenever we clicks on all clear, it's clearing the display here. Now we should check with another operators too. So it's working with percentage, it's working with minus, it's working with multiply, and it's working with divide too. And whenever we use this, let's divide this with this value, and we get an error because we cannot use two decimals here. Alright, so we should use one decimal. So let's say this, and this is calculating. So as you can see, we have finally completed our project here, and it's fully functional, and you can now post this on your social media. You can deploy these projects on Netlify, or you can either use Vercel. Both are great platform for deploying projects. So you can see it's a responsive design too. So that's it for the video. If you have liked the video, then do subscribe to the channel and like the video and share the video with your friends. Alright, so that's it for the video. Thanks for watching.